Good morning. I hope you're having a great day, a great week. I want to share some things that I picked up from Bob Goff, his book, Catching Whimsy. Let's read from Acts chapter 8, verses 29 through 31. So the apostles have been filled with the Holy Spirit. They've been commissioned. They're finally getting the idea that they need to get away from Jerusalem and Judea and Samaria and get out to the outermost parts of the world. And the Spirit told Philip, go to that chariot and stay near it. Then Philip ran up to the chariot and heard the man reading Isaiah the prophet. Do you understand what you're reading? Philip asked. How can I? He said, unless someone explains it to me. We have all sorts of people around us that they probably do have questions. First of all, let's be approachable people, the kind of people that people can approach with questions. I've liked to say that there was a time decades ago where I had all the answers and nobody asked me any questions. I now know that I don't have all the answers, but people ask me a lot more questions. I think you get the relationship that's happening there. Well, Bob Goff talks about faith became real to him when he was in high school. There's this guy named Randy that sounds like he's a few years older than him, but Bob had decided that he was going to drop out of school and move to Yosemite. If you've ever been to Yosemite, you can kind of understand why you might want to do that. Well, rather than try to talk him out of it, Randy, kind of like Philip, just got in his car with him. Well, it wasn't a chariot, it was a VW Bug. And he got his sleeping bag, his backpack, and they went up to Yosemite. So Bob tried to get a job there in Yosemite Valley, but failed. It seems like he was on a little bit of a losing streak. And Randy drove home with me a few days later. Now this part blows my mind, and I'm not sure that Randy made the absolute best choice here. He said, I found out later that Randy had gotten married the day before we left. Yeah, I think he had some splaining to do, if you know what I'm saying. He said, but when I showed up on his porch, he didn't see an interruption. He saw a kid who was about to jump the tracks, so he got in my car with me. Do you see people as interruptions? You know, I love the story where Jesus heals the person who's blind, and I believe it's a person who's born blind, and a person who's born blind, there's a whole thing that has to happen with your brain too to interpret everything you see. But he heals his eyes, and then he says, what do you see? He said, I see what look like trees walking around. What does that tell you? I just think it's so profound. It's simple but profound. If you're a blind person, trees have not been your friend. I mean, yeah, you figure out ways to avoid them, but they're obstacles. They're interruptions in where you're trying to get to. Do you view people like that? This Randy sure didn't view Bob Goff as an interruption or a distraction or anything like that, or an obstacle. And I wonder how he feels now, you know, because Bob Goff, for all the crazy stories that he tells, he turned out pretty well. He really did. I mean, I just think he's just a hoot, and I mean, God is using him in powerful ways. Well, in that story with Philip in Acts chapter 8, somebody needed understanding, and Philip was willing to do it. And so he gets on board, he shares about Jesus with him, and then the guy decides he wants to get baptized, so Philip baptizes him. They came out, they found some stuff, and then, plot twist, Philip just disappears. He gets moved by the Holy Spirit somewhere else, and the guy goes on his way rejoicing. Everybody wins in this story. So where are you at? Where are you at with the whole idea of interruptions? And everyone doesn't always need a solution from us, but I can tell you that as a pastor, there's many times where people are just like, hey, would you go visit this person with me? And the answer 99% of the time is yes. It takes me to jails, it takes me to hospitals, it takes me to rehab centers, it takes me to places sometimes that I'm not always excited to go to, but man, afterwards I'm really glad that I went. And sometimes really it's just showing up. God bless you. Have a great Christmas.